bum 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 bum
Drama.
bum.
Action. Comedy. Palace intrigue. Story Squad presents Clash of the Pencils. Oh, good evening, folks, one and all. It's a cold night here in Milford, Delaware, but we have some great story matchups for you tonight here on Clash of the Pencils nightly live stream. Again, Ehud, Rakentus, Slice, all in the top three, all battling for IOU NFT number 50. That's right, folks, 5-0, a nice even number and a nice even matchup. Not just that, but also control of the week. So great matchup here. Excited to have you folks along with us. I am your host, Tom Sherman, and this is the Clash of the Pencils nightly live stream, the most watched creative writing esport league live stream in the history of the internet. We're here as we are every weeknight to review the top 3 short story submissions from around the net, get the latest scores, see who's atop the leaderboard, and of course, review the top 5 sentences of the night. So a quick reminder to all you folks out there how to play. At the end of each nightly live stream, we will reveal a prompt for the next day. All you have to do then is grab a pencil, grab a notebook, and then write yourself a story, take a picture of it, upload it to our servers, and then boom, you're in the game, ready to win some NFTs. So every day we field anywhere between 0s and 10s of submissions, which then get run through a high-tech computer data science algorithm we like to call Storybot 3000, which uses, among other things, the Baha Men's Who Let the Dogs Out on repeat to analyze every story for character, plot, and setting. We then take Storybot's top 3 picks and let you, the public, determine tonight's winner. Alongside me today, helping analyze these stories, we've got a certified master of English by the Breadloaf School, Greg, the Reader Peterson. Welcome, Reader. What you reading?
There's a prophecy by a Nehru seer living on a tiny island of an unnamed lake. He says a Nehru man will come and force the great books rewriting. He'll be very tall with a long beard. His mannerisms will be gentle, but he will be cunning and full of vigor and fury. A sorcerer. Hey, Tom.
Wow. Interesting stuff there. I see why you're reading it, because today's prompt is a zookeeper gets a new exhibit. And so what if that zookeeper is a sorcerer? Scary stuff.
Anything's possible with this prompt. I can't wait. The lack of punctuation here is an invitation to keep going.
Well, it's a prompt. It doesn't say today's writing sentence. That is a fact. Right you are. So before we get underway, let's just quickly remind everybody what everyone's playing for tonight, besides, of course, fame and glory, and that is one of these, an IOU NFT. Not only that, it is number 50 out of 10,000.
It's that NFT. It's that one right there.
It is this exact one that is on the screen. So this is a 1 out of 10,000 NFT. That's actually an IOU for a future NFT from an upcoming drop from Story Squad. And although the current estimated cash value of the IOU NFT is $100 US, that's not the full value that you'll gain from owning this NFT. Think of NFTs like keys to the future. Right now, as humans, we interact with businesses and organizations much like ants might their queen, slaving away day in and day out for resources to give to the queen so that she may survive. NFTs turn this one-directional relationship into a community partnership. Owning NFTs of organizations will allow those owners special perks like early access to future products, exclusive content behind paywalls, and access to the inner community. Not only that, but NFTs are transferable, allowing owners to sell at a premium, which in turn appreciate all other NFTs held by community members. So NFTs are part art, part online identity, part admission to a virtual country club, part crypto speculation, part generational wealth, and all real, baby. I mean, nothing more really needs to be said. A lot is on the line because that is number 50 IOU NFT out of 10,000. And not only that, close watchers of the show might recall IOU number 1 out of 10,000 is owned by Slice. So this would be quite a collection of interesting numbers Slice could put into his portfolio here tonight. So Slice, number 1 on the week too, with 455 points. Racontus here in second place as we stand with 395 points, and Ehud in third with 380. Really a battle here. What happens tonight really going to help turn the week. Thursdays, like we've said before, tonight is the night.
Tonight's the night. Tonight's where Slice could either exert a grip on the leaderboard for the entire week, or Racontus or Ehud. Ehud could, if Ehud's going to make the move, it's going to be tonight.
It's got to be tonight. That's a fact. So back to the prompt real quick before we look at the top 3. Where would you go with this? A Zookeeper getting a new exhibit?
I'm not sure, but I know I want to see what Zookeeper means. I think the world building and the setting, I'm thinking traditional zoo, but I'm really intrigued by if anyone's going to take any imaginative leaps.
Let's see if these authors can rack their imaginative brains. We know they've got some of that. So let's just get it started here. And first submission of the night that Storybot has for us to review comes from Ehud. Theodore always wanted to work for a think tank, so he thought. As a kid, he thought think tanks were literal armor-plated machines of war powered by and launching explosive 16mm thoughts. But like Santa Claus and the Declaration of Independence, just products of over-imagination. Still, a jaded college grad had enough technical training to recognize a steel-reinforced concrete building filled with the right mix of greed, fear, angst, and Ivy League diplomas is a literal war machine turning the gears of war. Theodore proudly took his seat in a cubicle and dutifully filled out his orientation HR paperwork. The oil portrait of the founder, Edwin Booz, smiled down upon his newly procured exhibit. "Welcome to the terrarium, my boy," it whispered. All right, Theo thought think tanks were tanks that fired thoughts, then learned think tanks used thoughts to make tanks fire shots. Theo did not think this think tank was a terrarium for a haunted painting to watch his carefully manicured terrarium tank of neurotic Ivy Leaguers think thoughts.
There's nothing left to say after that physical explosion. That was phenomenal. I like the opening line. We get some alliteration with Theo, the think tank, or so he thought. It's very playful. We also get the war machine turning the gears of war. I liked. I wonder what happens. What he's filled out some HR forms, and then he was mildly disillusioned.
Well, yeah, I mean, so I think that's I'm with you too. Like the plot really here. The last line is like, is this a haunted painting? And now he's in some sort of like Twilight Zone office where he's actually in a terrarium. I'm not quite sure, or if that was just a metaphor of like he's now in this war machine from the 1940s that's still being watched over by some long dead founder of the think tank. I'm not quite sure. There was definitely a I don't know. I mean, the character.
What it didn't have, Tom?
What's that?
Didn't have reference to zoos, zookeepers, or new exhibits.
Well, the terrarium. It was
all right. Kind of shoehorn that in there.
Yeah. So the Zookeeper is the oil painting, and the terrarium is the cubicles, and the see that's also in my notes though with the setting is like if that's where it's going, it could have been a better setup of the water cooler station, leafing papers, and trying to make it seem like it is a terrarium, environment where we didn't really get much of that. It got lost in I think the think tank wordplay. is where they got lost into that. It was a trap. It was, it was a hook, but ended up leading us down a
It was a
hole.
hook, although it did result in your pretty epic summary.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, for that, it worked.
Might be a
But
feature, not a bug. I would say setting is realized. I got the world. The character, I kind of got the character. Plot, I guess the whole point of bureaucracy is nothing happens in perpetuity. So I would put plot on without moving plot too much. Maybe move the character in a little bit, setting.
yeah, I mean, yeah, the character, I got like the idealism of the young child, and then by the time going into the workforce for the dream job, it's not quite.
Can I ask a question? Is idealism thinking about an armored tank that shoots thoughts? Is that idealism, or is that just strange naivety?
Isn't that idealism? I'm not quite sure.
Yeah.
Not quite
Potato,
sure.
potato.
The point being what was thought, the dream and the reality not lining up, and I don't know. I think it was off the mark. It felt like, honestly, Ehud was trying to be Slice. I could see Slice, opening up the setting and the plot and the character a little bit more, and I thought Ehud made a swing at that, but just didn't quite connect.
Well, it'll be interesting to see how the other people use Zoo and Zookeeper. I'm very attuned to this.
Fact. So as we continue to view our own menagerie of exhibits, let's carry on to see Racontus's story right now.
Careful, that's precious cargo. Where'd it come from? That shady island. You know, the one with that scientist? Dr. Jekyll? No, the other guy, Moreau. Oh, that guy. He gives me the creeps.
The zookeeper's assistants eased the crate off the truck. From inside came a low rumble.
Aren't you curious?
No, not really. Let's get this set up so we can clock out. Chet stepped on a wrapper. Yo, man, stop leaving your trash around.
It's not mine. I don't eat Oreos.
Another rumble from the crate. Or was it a chuckle? A balled-up wrapper popped out of the air hole and landed at Gary's feet.
What's it say this is?
He asked, nodding towards the clipboard in Chet's hand. No name, just a description. Small mammal, purple with orange spots. Says it's native to Mexico. A giggle from inside the crate. And another Oreo wrapper fell to the floor. All right, 2 henchmen transport a crate with a mysterious animal from the island of Dr. Moreau. After unloading the crate from the truck, the mysterious animal, the pair argue over some trash before revealing to the reader that the animal in the crate is the laughing virus Abbott, last seen in Slice's tale a couple nights ago, being thrown over the border from U.S. into Mexico.
Wow, this is like fan fiction of another author. It's great.
Yeah, there's layers here.
Intertextual here. I thought what I loved about this was the diction. It felt like a scene. It felt like voices could bring the scene to life. The classic kind of idiot henchman, and that it was just dripped out really well. There was a progression or a sequence of the crate. There's intrigue, careful, that's precious cargo. We get some detail, but we're not, it's all through inference and suggestion and hinting that any of this, and then we get this really slow, almost kind of like old cartoon kind of stock situation of these idiots, and then the rumble, and then the rumble or a chuckle, and then the giggle, then we get the clues. I thought that was very well done. I don't necessarily know what the bigger implications of that plot are.
Well, yeah, I mean, I thought I'm right there with you a bit, where I thought it was a great use of dialogue and setup and kind of like building a lot of tension and plot without really showing anything. You know what I mean? Like it's like what's in the crate, what's in the crate, and then when we realize what's in the crate, it forces us to kind of build the story of first of all what happened in Mexico with this animal, that animal laughing virus, that then it's gone to Dr. Moreau's island, and then here, and then like what's about to happen to the, and like from that progression of the rumble to the chuckle to the giggle, it seems like it's gonna escape at some point, right? Or like it forces us to use our imaginations to create plot almost on both sides of it. It's like
That's a good way of putting it. It's like
it, it's it's actually an old screenwriting trick where they tell people to write the scene, start the action, and end it before you actually have to show it on the paper. You know what I mean? Because like that's the expensive part to shoot, right? Is going to Mexico and all that sort of stuff. And it's expensive to have this weird doctor doing its own experiments, and that's a whole thing that's going to take a while to explain. But two henchmen in the middle of that action sequence, that it leaves all that work to the reader's imagination.
Right. I'm left with some questions about like, careful, that's precious cargo.
Mm-hmm.
How was this labeled as precious cargo?
Mm-hmm.
Like what was the story behind that?
Mm-hmm.
And then where did the Oreos come from? It seems like a large stash of Oreos.
Oh, that were in the crate, right?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, possibly. And so that's the other thing too, right? And that's why the reference to Dr. Moreau is kind of a clever trick for both setting and plot, right? Where it's like it's on this island, this weird island that Dr. Moreau is a H.G. Wells story, where there's a guy making animal human hybrids. That's classic. I mean, hey,
who isn't right now? If you're not making animal human hybrids in the Web3 era, you're not trying.
You're not trying hard enough. That's a fact. So, so that's a great like setting and plot setup. And I don't know. I kind of lost my train of thought there, but at the same time, so yeah, it's like where's this coming from? Is this actually that the animal got loose in Mexico, and then now Dr. Moreau's been doing experiments on it, and now he's shipping these off to other doctors and mad scientists throughout the world? Like, or is this something that has not been I don't know where I'm going with this. This is crazy. It's a crazy story.
It felt like a transition scene. It felt like a nice like transition scene between two bigger scenes.
And check this out too. Like, look at that. That's 13 lines left on the page. That's a big move. That's a bold move to leave all that paper. And I think Rack-and-Two's pulled it off for what it was. Like you said, a good transition scene in between action.
Certainly.
Speaking of transitions.
Yes.
What's that?
Speaking of I see what he did there.
Yeah.
It's really snatch picture.
Very
positive feet right there.
Boom. One more to go. And that's from Slice. So let's see what's happening here.
Look, Dad, it said Google machine. Shh, it just called a text an email. Kids, keep it down. It's in its comfy chair. It's nodding off. Wow. The brother and sister said together, their voices downturned. Jonas Walkerus, the elusive boomer, had recently been introduced as the zoo's latest exhibit. All right, folks, a zookeeper said. It's time for this boomer to feed. Please move to another exhibit. This creature likes peace and quiet for his feeding. Next door are gorillas, the close cousins to the boomer. Enjoy. The zookeeper drew curtains on all sides of the plexiglass enclosure, put on classic rock, and slid a red meat cheeseburger with raw onions, mustard pickles, and a side of potato salad through the meal door. Months of routine passed. Hearty meals, dire straits, and harmless cantankerous mumblings. One day the boomer's daughter visited with her toddler. They talked pleasantly, and they glossed over his misgendering of the child and onto her apology for selling him to the zoo. Her partner was underwater on a cryptocurrency play that hadn't panned out. They were desperate. The boomer told her the only free place left in this world was inside those walls. He didn't much mind. He's not made for the outside anymore. She dropped a tear on her sweater and left hurriedly, forgetting her toddler.
The boomer called to her, but she was already on a call, texting, and watching a parenting video as she scurried. The boomer snuck the toddler through the meal door for his safety. The two played inside the cage until the boomer fell asleep. The toddler roamed around the exhibit and fiddled with the zoo's control panels, which were inside the boomer's cage, because they were complicated and there was no threat of him monkeying with them. However, the toddler managed to shut down the landscaping, plumbing, and some electrical systems. Later that day, the toddler's mom returned to collect him, and zoo officials noticed the system failures. They tried to troubleshoot the errors, but were baffled. Their only option seemed to be a total system replacement, until the boomer offered to cut the lawn, fool with the toilets, and tinker with the lights. Once a week, Mr. Walker pulled his tube socks as high as he could to his cutoffs, unraveled his extension cord, and took the mower to the grounds, extending his freedom to the park. An elusive boomer gets added as the zoo's latest exhibit. After months of grumbling around the cage between meals, his daughter visits to apologize for selling him to the zoo. The boomer reveals his cage is really his only safe space to be free. And while there, the woman forgets her son due to distractions involving a parenting video. The toddler then breaks the controls of the zoo that they assumed the boomer never would touch. Instead of replacing the whole system, the boomer volunteers to be a handyman, broadening his horizons by the length of an extension cord.
Slice is done again. This was the imaginative exploration when a zoo gets a new exhibit. Oh man, there's so much great satire here. What I loved the caricature of the boomer was so recognizable. Classic rock, red meat cheeseburgers with raw onions, listening to Dire Straits and cantankerous murmurings, misgendering the child, and then the whole thing was so recognizable. The play of wires, the extension cord for the lawn mowing equipment versus the digital things, all the tools and instruments that were beyond it. The irony of the toddler being able to mess up, the control panel of the entire zoo, whereas the boomer would be too intimidated and just sort of sticks to what it knows. I'm already saying it. I'm already referring to it as the zoo animal, Tom. This is getting deep into my head. Because it's true. This feels very, very spot. This belongs in a shouts and murmurs column of the New Yorker. This was great. This was one great one-page satire. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I enjoyed it. I mean, there was so many little nuggets in there. The setting, I was there. I was inside the zoo. I was watching this exhibit unfold. I really enjoyed the whole bad parenting that occurred because they were trying so hard to be good parents and
watching the video of
the
parenting instruction video and leaving the kiddo behind. Yeah,
that was great.
Perfect.
And I did really enjoy the small world getting so much bigger in such a small way. That was just kind of a nice little. It also reminded me that line where he reveals that he doesn't. All he needs is this cage. He doesn't need to go out into the world anymore.
It was the way that I will give him a lot. Like Slice needs a lot of the plot here. While it's not a huge plot, it's a perfect plot. It's perfectly plotted in that the cage becomes the world, and then just the extension cord to extend it as the last bastion of freedom to keep doing the things that it is not willing to change, the non-negotiables of kind of boomer lifestyle.
Yeah.
It's really something. It's really something. It feels like a significant cultural artifact. Feels urgent.
Yeah. Something's happening there. That's true.
Let's mint it and put it on the blockchain.
I mean, we should get that boomer to fire up the old Google machine and see if that's possible.
Call in a text and email.
Classic boomer. Get Geek Squad out here. Put it on the blockchain. So wow, great stuff, and yet at the same time, pointless. This Sussex County Dorito that we've just made, where the marshmallows are kind of slowly sliding off the plot, doesn't really matter. Doesn't really matter at all, and that's because what you and I think is meaningless. We care about two things, and that is Storybot's top 3 picks, which we just saw, and then other than that, we just care about the votes coming in from the internet. And to do that, all I have to do is hit update leaderboard and then hit refresh, and we'll see what the people thought was the best story. Could be anybody's game, and this is for IOU number 50. And a lot of tension here. And look at that. Raconteuse on top for the day, 165 points, followed by Slice, and then Ehud in a distant third and 115. Wow! Congratulations, Raconteuse, out there with that poignant little scene. And how is this going to affect the week? Well, Slice up by 35 points now with 595 over Raconteuse, and Ehud in third with 495. I don't know. Not looking good. Ehud's going to need a miracle, it looks like. Possibly, I don't know. If they get in the top 3 and Slice and Raconteuse don't, it does not even. It's down to Slice and Raconteuse. That's what it is.
It is. Tomorrow? It's for all the marbles for the week and for tomorrow's NFT.
And yeah, I mean, it looks like Raconteuse is going to have to get first tomorrow.
First and get a third.
A second place and a Slice third place isn't going to do it for Raconteuse.
So if you're voting for Raconteuse, internet, you got to put Slice third. But if you're voting for Slice, you're probably
there's a lot of gameplay. A lot of gameplay here.
A lot of gameplay.
Let's see what they're going to have to write to get these NFTs. Ooh. Use the following words: scheme, houseplant, and ballet.
Wow.
Where would you go with this?
The degree of difficulty on these reverse Mad Libs is a good way to punctuate the week. Scheme, houseplant, ballet. Well, scheme and ballet, I could definitely see some Black Swan scheming action. The houseplant throws a wrinkle into it, changing the setting.
Mm-hmm.
Not sure.
Interesting. Take a walk. Think about it.
You're being kind. That was not interesting.
Sometimes I just say interesting because
I have a theory.
I have nothing else to say.
You want to know my theory? Interesting is the new fine. 80% of the percentage of the time people say fine, they don't actually mean fine. And I think interesting has a similar level of not meaning what they say.
Well, that's fine. But yeah, no, that's
I'm collecting data actively. I will post the results.
We'll be waiting with bated breath. And until then, another transition quickly to the top 5 sentences of the day. Here we go. Number 5. Welcome to the terrarium, my boy, it whispered. That's from Ehud, the oil painting, welcoming the thinker to the thought tank. Number 4, from Slice. Once a week, Mr. Walker pulled his tube socks as high as he could to his cutoffs, unraveled his extension cord, and took the mower to the grounds, extending his freedom to the park.
It was an amazing last line.
It reminds me of like
tube socks is high to his cutoffs. I mean, yes. Yeah.
It's like a Galapagos tortoise that they just like let loose in the zoo, and like, he's not going anywhere.
You can put that control panel right next to it. No problem.
Number 3 from Ehud. As a kid, he thought think tanks were literal armor-plated machines of war powered by and launching explosive 16mm thoughts.
Who's to say they're not, buddy?
Keep dreaming for the stars, my friend, and keep launching those 16mm stories at us. Number 2 from Slice. They talked pleasantly. They glossed over his misgendering of the child and onto her apology for selling him to the zoo. So great. Like,
that is a really just a little faux pas, selling someone to a zoo.
Hey.
It's pleasant. The whole thing was pleasant tonally.
That's a fact. And number 1 from Racontus, no name, just a description. Small mammal, purple with orange spots. Says it's native to Mexico.
All the clues we got.
The line revealing, what exactly was happening, turning the story upside down, revealing it was a sequel to a previous submission from a different author, Slice, and then all at once taking home that IOU NFT after winning the hearts and mind of the internet public at large.
So the internet's fickle, Tom. So we'll see what tomorrow brings.
That's
today,
fact.
Ragantus on top. Well played.
Racontus, king of the internet for a night. And yet, tomorrow is a whole new ball game, whole new day. So that wraps up another round of the Clash of the Pencils nightly live stream. Be sure to join us tomorrow. Exciting conclusion to the week. Who's going to take it, Slice or Racontus? It's anybody's ball game. And we'll be back with those answers tomorrow, I guess. Until then, we'll see you out on the paper.
Do you want to participate in the Clash of the Pencils and Story Squad universe? It's easy. Join us on Twitter or in our Discord server at Story Squad HQ. There's lots of ways to participate. Draw some fan art. Play our addictive game of jokes and master strokes, Word Hoax. Or join Greg's monthly book club. And as always, remember to pay your cat tax.
Meow.
Money, fame, and love can all be found here at Story Squad.